I've only heard one recording in the history of music where somebody actually did that.
We're in, ladies and gentlemen, Houston Ensemble. I don't know. This is episode 91, 92. 91 with Mike Moreno.
92.
92. Well, I like to just start off by saying how I learned about Mike Moreno. When I was at USC, I recall my friend and I, Colin Cook, looking up a video of yours. I think you were in, I don't know if it was a club, a bedroom, a rehearsal room, practice room, but I think you were playing Confirmation. I want to say it was Confirmation.
Oh, that was probably recently then, like within the last 3 years, maybe? If it was Confirmation.
Maybe it wasn't Confirmation, because I'm talking about USC, like, I'm older than I look. I thank you very much for thinking this was 3 years ago. No, this was more like 10 years ago. Good
oh, yeah,
God.
I think that's that video that, a lot of people saw. That was me playing Anthropology.
But
it was just at a workshop in Paris. Mm-hmm. And, it was basically in this, like, little tiny studio. This room is similar, kind of like what you guys have, but not nearly as nice. And dimly lit. So it just looks like I'm in a wine cave or something, like playing Anthropology. And I didn't have any of my gear. Like that trip, we were coming from Italy with that band I was playing with, and all my luggage was like left in the other city. So I just was like plugged straight into an amp with like no reverb, I think, on that gig. I mean on that workshop. And just somebody asked me to give an example of a rhythm changes, so I did that.
Well, we certainly liked it. We were students at the time, so back then I was very heavy on checking out all the new cats, and maybe even like, oh, what is he doing there? What's going on here? Type of thing. I'm not as inquisitive as I used to be, but that's how we learned about you, man. And then And then from then on, it was a series of events. Like, I kept hearing your name because I came back to town and I started playing with people like David Craig or Tim Ruiz. And then, we were like, oh, where's Mike? And then then I bumped into you at the airport, and then here we are. So
random. I mean, that's the way it happens sometimes.
It does.
I see a lot of my friends more in airports than I do like out. Just like see like Nicholas Payton just randomly at the airport, or like I saw Fred Hirsch the other day. It's just random. I never bump into Fred Hirsch, just like on the street in New York.
So when we ran into you at the airport, you were coming into town to play with Nick Payton, right?
Yeah.
In Houston.
Yeah.
So how did that gig? How did we couldn't go to that show. Actually, we both talked about that. We would have loved to, but how did that go? Where was that? And
that was at the Camera, so Cullen Theater, part of the Wortham. And it was sort of, I feel like that gig came together because like in June or July, we had a whole week at Smoke with Nicholas with a like kind of large ensemble. Not large ensemble, but there was like vibraphone. Was Nick playing? Nick wasn't playing any keys, so it was just vibraphone, guitar, bass, drums, and Nick. And Mark Turner was on tenor. So then the next day after we did that, I knew that we were going to do this week, so I asked him if he was going to stick around. He wanted to do a gig, and he was like, "Well, I can stick around. Here's my hotel. Like, if you're down to pay for another night, I'll stick around and do your gig." So I had a gig the next day after we finished that week, and Nick played, and that sort of went like jazz viral, not like a serious viral video online, but Nick played like I hadn't heard Nick play like that. Maybe just because I haven't been around him in every live situation, but I hadn't heard him play like that in a long time. Like he sounded like it was 1997 again, and he was just killing. And we just played quartet here in this neighborhood where I live at a place called Bar Lunatico, which is like they book great music there, and he posted a lot of the gig online, like kind of reminding people that he's still Nicholas Payton, And so I think that's how the Houston gig came, because it was just a quartet with guitar, the same lineup as we did at this bar here in my neighborhood. So I'm guessing that's how that idea popped in his head to do that one gig like that, because it was basically the same setup, guitar quartet. We hadn't done that since like 2006 when I first joined Nick's band.
What do you think was going on that night that it came out like that?
It felt like, because all the gigs I've done with Nick since, I would say like in the last 10 years, have all been like at like Smoke or a jazz festival where the audience is just kind of like, it is what it is. The more money you make, the less the audience is into it. Seems like at jazz festivals. And so it felt like 97 again. Like there's people were going nuts in the audience. Like, during the solos, like screaming out, like during Nick's solo, screaming out during my solo. And so it felt like that old energy again. And he just took it to another level. Yeah.
There's something about that. We talk about that all the time when it's like, it's a little empty and we're waiting for people to show up. That's when we kind of get, for me, I get a little more excited. Because I'm like, now there's a reason that I'm sharing this. I'm not just, masturbating for myself or whatever it is that I'm doing.
Right.
There. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Smoke, it's a great club. I mean, I like playing there. And that's kind of like Nick's regular New York residency now. He plays there about twice a year, at least twice, like runs, like of a week with different projects, But the audience is never going to feel like that, like you're playing a small club and like, and also young kids can go to Bar Lunatico, like students, because there's no cover charge. So as long as you're there, you get there on time, you get a seat, you're cool. But like Smoke, that's a $200 night for like two people to go. It's crazy, the cover charge and the drinks and the food and everything. So it's that crowd, it's like a supper club.
So actually, speaking of that, and since you were just in Houston, it's a little more relevant. Did you happen to hear about, or has anybody reached out to you about the new jazz supper club that's in Houston called Doc's?
I've heard a lot of things about it, yeah, but
what have you heard?
Not too many positive things yet. Like what I've heard is that it's way too ambitious for the local musicians playing there. Like let's just as an example, the Village Vanguard. We can go tonight and hear Christian McBride with Kurt Rosenwinkel for $35, and Doc's in Houston for somebody that's lived there forever. That doesn't have an international name, they're charging $50 to get in there. So how are you going to sell tickets for that, Whereas like it's cheaper to go see legends play here in New York, Yeah.
Maybe that has to, I totally get what you're saying. I wonder, Houston's kind of an odd city.
I'm not saying, this other people that have been talking about that place have said that.
Sure, so, yeah.
And Houston's, I was like, oh, wow, I can't believe it's that expensive to get into a local club in Houston.
I feel like one of the big things is that Houston lacks this sort of infrastructure when it comes to jazz, but also kind of live music in a certain way. It's a little hard to describe exactly because obviously there is plenty of music here, a lot of great, amazing musicians, etc.
Yeah, but they are always playing for free. So then then you open a club and it's like, now everybody you saw for free for the last 10 years, it's $50. It's like,
right.
Okay, that's gonna be a hard thing to keep going, or even start.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and thank God, the past few times that I've been there, it has been sold out every time. So at least
great. Well,
the people are coming out to do it. And it is nice to finally have a venue here that is actually a stage dedicated to it. Beautiful grand piano.
When did it officially open? I thought it still was like they were booking people, but it wasn't open yet.
And I think November 15th was the official, past the soft opening. Like there was a soft opening week.
When we were in Houston, people were saying it's going to open.
Because I literally said to somebody the other day, I feel like it was that weekend that you were here. That's what you just said.
But everybody was sort of talking about it. It wasn't just. So then if it'll open and people are going, then my information is old, because this was all like preliminary kind of. But even musicians that were about to play there were just like, I don't know how I'm gonna convince or how to get people to come out to see me when they've been seeing me at like bars for free for like ever since I moved here.
Well,
so it was kind of like them worrying about it, you know.
The good thing, I think, one thing that I think saves it a little bit, probably for Houstonians, is that there's a novelty to the experience.
Right.
Like, you know, it's actually a nice restaurant per se. Tables. It's set up like a big, nice club.
Yeah.
Top tier sound.
There's a lot of legendary, quote unquote, legendary spots, even like Smalls in New York. And whereas here, we just don't have anything like that. So something comes up, it's like, oh dang, we finally have this thing. Let's go. Let's have a jazz night. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, everything's going well so far. They just started. I think they're aware of the areas that need to be improved, because you're not gonna get it perfect on the first time.
Right.
So that's just kind of where we're at right now. Yeah.
Man, if they could figure out a way to make it work, then because Cezanne wasn't a great venue. You know, Cezanne, also the people running it, they had no interest in making it a great venue. You know, so there needs to be something that takes the place of what Cezanne was, but like at a real level, where you had people that were willing to take a risk and pay people what they deserve to be paid. I mean, I stopped playing. Me and Glasper used to play Cezanne at least once a year, like on the breaks from coming home from college. And there would be people like lined out the door, and we would just be making $100 a night, and they refused to pay anything more. And so we just stopped playing there, and we started playing Ovations. And then all of a sudden you went from $100 to make $1,000 a night. You know, it's like, why? But that was Cezanne. Like, they just refused to look at it like, oh, this is a band from out of town, not kids that are in college that live in Houston, you know.
Right.
And Glasper was already touring with like Christian McBride and Kenny Garrett and Nicholas Payton, and they were just like, so you just lived here like a year and a half ago, like we're not going to charge more than I think it was back then was like $10 or $20 to get into Cezanne. So yeah, and maybe it was like $20 already, like in 1999, you know. But so if they had charged a decent cover, man, they could have made like 4 times as much. They could have been charging people like $40 to get in, and it would have still been packed. So I don't. So if docs can come in and do that, like basically bring in international acts enough for them to get in, or I mean out of town acts, and if there's a venue like that, like Blue Moon used to be like that. Do you guys know about that club?
I've heard Houston? Of it.
So yeah, Blue Moon was like, that's where everybody played. If you were, you know, Todd Vulo, my teacher, would go pick up whoever just flew in to play Blue Moon, pick him up at the airport, take him to the club, get him checked into the hotel. And he used to tell me all these stories about musicians, you know, picking them up from the airport, taking them to the hotel, taking them to the venue. But that was like a real club. Like, people came on the road through Houston to play that club. And would fly in, like, so, yeah, right now. And then Rockefeller's was the same thing, you know. Rockefeller's was great. I saw Herbie there. I saw Joe Henderson. I saw Tribal Tech. I saw the Kansas City All-Star Band with Nicholas Payton and Mark Whitfield, you know. So that since I was in high school, there just hasn't been a venue like that.
You're exactly right.
Other than the camera, but the camera's huge. They won't even give me a gig, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, I played there several times, but, you know.
That's an interesting one. Where was the Blue Moon?
The Blue Moon, I think, was also in Montrose.
Okay.
You know,
it's probably before I actually moved to Houston, so I'm just not even familiar with that at all.
Yeah, when I was in high school, Todd Vulo was playing every Monday at Dizzy's, which was a little bar. It was like, but great. Like, every music, all the music there was local musicians and good local musicians. So you would see like Todd Vulo was there every Monday, Warren Sneed and what's his name? Oh man, Mike, guitar player.
Oh,
Wheeler?
No, not Mike Wheeler. Shit,
Terry?
I'm forgetting his name. Sorry, it's older than Mike Wheeler.
Oh.
Oh, so there was a few bands. There was like Stratus. That was the name of the band. Stratus.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes Warren Sneed would play in Stratus, and sometimes David Caceres would play in it. It was Dave Nichols.
Warren told me about this. Yeah.
So that band would play at Dizzy's, and it was a cool little venue. You know, they just had like an upright piano, but it was mostly guitar groups. So it was great for me, like when I was in high school, to go check music out there. But that was kind of the only club, and then there was the Camera and Rockefellers. But Rockefellers was great. Man.
that's cool. I've also heard of some people going to some wicked concerts there, and obviously the building is still there, but I don't think that.
Well, the Camera, they were going to take it over again. They even were looking at booking. So then they were looking at booking me for that. But then it never came together. So.
Okay,
that sucked. I was like, man, yeah, the Rockefellers is coming back and it's being booked by the Camera. Like, great.
Yeah. What do you think happened with Rockefellers, as an example? What happened that the quality of maybe events died a little bit?
I don't know, because I never went in that place where it wasn't packed. Like, sold out Joe Henderson, sold out Herbie, sold out Joshua Redman. That's where I met Joshua Redman and Brian Blade, Peter Bernstein for the first time. I met them at Rockefellers. But yeah, every show I saw there, Tribal Tech, everything was sold out, just packed.
Okay, I have a couple
like Tribal Tech was like standing. People were standing, you know, like it wasn't like sitting down. I think even for Herbie, it was like a standing room, like the main floor, and then the balconies were all seating.
This is a little tangent, but so right now I'm just curious, Mike, if on an average day, let's say you have some time, how much guitar are you playing? What are you studying these days? Are you studying? Are you practicing? What are you doing? What's the routine?
I mean, I play every day. If I don't, that means there's a lot going on that unfortunately took me away from my apartment. But otherwise, I'm playing for at least, I would say at least 2 hours a day. If it's like a slow, like that's as much as I can do, that's fine. But I'm just working on either music for gigs I have coming up, or writing music, my own music, or I'm doing stuff for Patreon, which basically is just cleaning up everything I did in the past, like all my scribbles, notes, and notebooks, and then I make the charts nice. I do a lot of stuff for Manhattan School of Music, so my ensembles. Or the course I teach there now, so I designed that course. You know, this thing, the popular songs from film. So that that all came together during the pandemic, and then when Manhattan School of Music saw like me, Ingrid Jensen saw me do a presentation of it in Switzerland, and she was like, "We need this at the school." I was like, "Great." It took 2 years to happen, but it finally happened. It's like all the bureaucracy you have to go to get like a course approved at a school like that. It took a long time. So now I'm doing that, and that's constant, like updating every time I find out new information and just programming it into the classes and stuff.
Would you say?
So I mean, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Would you say that overall you feel like you're still evolving as a guitarist, musician? Are you?
Oh yeah.
Is it? Do you feel like? I mean, I'm kind of like feeding you words at this point, but do you feel like you are, let's say if Mike Moreno today went back 20 years ago, you could school your old self?
Yeah, I think so in many ways. And in some ways, maybe not. But yeah, musicality wise and tone is the biggest thing. Like, I didn't really care about tone when I cared about my own sound on my instrument, but I wasn't like investing in gear back then. Like, I played a 335 that I bought off my friend from HSPVA, like for $1,000. That was my main instrument, and I basically just plugged straight into the amp with the most complicated thing in my rig was like a little Lexicon rack for reverb, and that was it. So actually I still have it. It's back there. I had a bunch of them. I lost some, left them in cabs and stuff like that. But so I didn't really care about the tone, so I was always kind of struggling on gigs to figure out exactly how to get a more kind of how to compete with the rest of the guys in the band, like how good the piano would sound or how good the saxophone sounded, because the music wasn't really like super straight ahead. So, you know, I felt like I was playing music that was a little bit more advanced than where I was tonally. So then it took a while to catch up with that and also have money to invest in good gear, all that stuff.
Do you have
so those kind of things, you know?
Do you have
and
a go-to?
Harmonically for sure. Like I there was a lot of things that I skipped over when I was really young that I went back to later, like just filling in the gaps of all this harmonic stuff, like how simple harmony works, like tonal harmony, not just everything is free and whatever, play what you want, you know. So then I went back and really learned how to play songs, you know. So that took a while. Also, I didn't really have that together when I was super young, but I could play all this like stuff that sounded cool, you know. But that was it.
To go off of what you just said, just regarding the harmony and what you came back and learned, could you give us some maybe example is a little direct, but could you kind of expound upon that a little bit or talk about what came to light?
You know, it was that thing of when I heard great piano players playing, when they played songs, like they played just a standard, like a standard that is in one key. It doesn't modulate, or if it modulates, it's a real quick modulation and it's on the bridge or something. And it was the way that they would manipulate the harmony. You know, how they could play the same A section on the second A, they would play something that you almost didn't even catch that was a little bit different. They would add a chord, or they would get to the next chord with a few other chords. Or they would substitute, just throw in a different progression, like a 2-5 or some kind of substitute 4-2-5. Or diminished chords, like how they would use diminished chords and stuff like that. Like all that stuff, to me, I didn't really understand how they were doing that when I was in college and after that. But then I went back and started studying like how all the great arrangers, like if you listen any singer record, like that has a string section or like a horn section in the background, like a full big band or an orchestra, like the way that those arrangers would manipulate the harmony of a standard without changing it. It wasn't reharmonization, but it was like functional substitutions. So everything is still the same. It's just the bottom and the top are different. That's it. So they would add tensions and they would use inversions in a real way, like not just a random. A lot of people use inversions all the time when they comp chord progressions, but they're not thinking. They're using them as chords themselves instead of a way to get from one place to the next, that's the real way, you know, all the greats have ever used inversions. It's never just, ooh, this is a chord with a different bass note. Look at this, you know. It's never that. It's always like, this is 3 chords that are inverted to get to this chord. That's it. You know, all of those great arrangements are kind of like that. So studying that stuff was a big thing.
Is this an example of that where, let's say, instead of starting on D minor on Sentimental Mood, on the last A you start on B half diminished and you do a walk down to G minor?
Things like that, yeah. But see, the thing about that is that's probably something that somebody did once, and then now everybody does it every time, and they think that that's the chord change. But the chord change has always been just D minor.
Of course.
Or a better example is like, you know, things that people see in charts, like Someone in Love. If you look at a chart of that tune, My One and Only Love, that tune. If you look at a chart of that tune, every chart I've ever seen on that song has this bass line of inversions going down. And yes, that's a true way of using inversions, so that's a good example of how you could use inversions. But I've only heard one recording in the history of music where somebody actually did that, and it's a June Christie record. There's no classic version record of My One and Only Love where they do inversions like that. It's a real book change, you know? So it's weird things like that. So everybody, whenever they play My One and Only Love, even though they've heard the Coltrane record, or at least they push play on it, they think they heard it, you know, it was in the background around one day while they wash the dishes. If they listen to the record, nobody's playing inversions on that tune, you know. So it's that thing of like I call it like the Ron Burgundy effect, where like if you just put it on the teleprompter, he's going to read it. So that's a lot of musicians. Like if it's in the chart, they're going to play it without question. Whereas like I look at a chart, I'm always questioning what's on there. Like who wrote this chart? Do I like their music? You know, that kind of thing. So that's the question that I always ask students, that they look at me crazy. I'm like, who wrote the real book? And they're like, I have no idea. I was like, so you're basically learning how to play music from somebody you don't even know who they are.
Who wrote the Bible? Gotta question that.
Yeah, it's like, no, man, exactly.
Yeah,
I did
at
see
least in the Bible. I mean, it's probably not the people there. At least there's names, you know, Paul or whatever, the book of, you know.
Right.
Some guy.
Well, it was
named
some
Paul.
student, right? It was like a student project, and then the student messed it up, and there was a revision. I vaguely recall the story of the real book getting put together.
Sorry, let me turn this off, man. Forgot my heater. This is like on automatic.
Oh, no worries.
We can edit that out.
But yeah, I remember vaguely the story of the real book getting put together, you know, and how it was kind of shady at first, and there was a revision, and a lot of the chords were wrong, and this and that and the third, and they were smuggling these books, or what were they doing? They were selling them on the streets, basically, with spiral bound, old-fashioned style back in the day, right? That's kind of neat, though. That history is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, hold on, I'm just gonna wait for this to turn
Sure.
off, man. Sorry. Which takes a while.
It's actually not even that loud on our end.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
it's
Oh,
not-
okay. It's just
not
loud in my
bothering us.
headphones. So, yeah, the real book to me, it's like, yeah, who wrote it? And I guarantee you that whoever did they're not on the records we're listening to, right? One, they had the time to do it, meaning they weren't working. And two, like, if you look at that first edition real book, like, there's almost nothing in it that's right. And even the keys, it's like Equinox is in C minor. It's like, I'm listening to the record. They're in D flat minor. Like, how did you get this off? You know, it's like, oh, I didn't feel like writing all those flats, so I just put it in C minor. Okay. So there's like things like that.
I was wondering about something, actually. If you could tell me, I know we're talking about a lot of jazz stuff, and I'm always going to be a jazz lover, but these days I find myself playing popular music as well. I'm playing even R&B, neo-soul stuff, and I like that stuff. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie, and I sometimes my ear needs a break from all of these beautiful chromaticisms and the diminished chords, and I love it, you know? I'm a nerd. If anyone who's ever checked out my stuff knows that I'm a nerd about jazz. But what do you think about the state of popular music today? What do you like?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I like. I mean, just for one example of like Madison Cunningham, I really, man, she's unreal to me. Like her writing and her guitar playing, her singing, like everything. Like at least a couple of records of hers that I've really checked out are insane. And even we play even one of her songs in my ensemble at Manhattan School of Music. I took it to the students because it was just such a great tune. But you know, stuff like that, St. Vincent, I love that stuff. I've always, you know, as long as it's in that vibe that we're singers, not even singer-songwriter. I can't really call Madison Cunningham a singer-songwriter. She's just an artist, like sort of in the same way like Bjork and St. Vincent are, but maybe not as drastic as St. Vincent and Bjork, but the music is crazy good.
Yeah.
And there's something super familiar about it. It's not like it's so innovative. The innovative part about her music to me is how good of a guitar player she is, and how she's really playing all those parts live and singing the songs at the same time. And it's like, that shit is not easy, you know, and all the alternate tunings, sort of like Joni Mitchell, you know. Yeah, she's killing. But yeah, I've always done crossover stuff with different people. I mean, it's weird. Like, as a jazz guitar player, if you're just open to it, the opportunity to do other styles is always there. So even without trying, just I found myself in this situation. Like, oh, I'm in a room with Q-Tip, and we're recording for a commercial, or we're doing something for one of his albums. Like, how did this happen? It's just like because somebody recommends you, and next thing you know, you're on a hip hop record, or like next thing you know, like Michelle Indigocello's at a gig of yours, and after the gig, she's like, I want you to play in my band, and I was just like, well, we're just playing a bunch of jazz stuff, like. Okay, I guess you hear something that I'm and what I'm doing on that gig that maybe you could use in your band. And she would just like to experiment too. But yeah, it's just random things. It's always, jazz musicians are always involved with every style of music. Like, and then playing with Glasper is, I've always been next to him, like as we were developing since high school. So I was kind of always meeting people that he was socializing with it was never just jazz. So, I remember going to Glasper and be like, man, what R&B record should I get for guitar? And, he would list me some records, and then he would ask me like what jazz records he needed to get and stuff like that. It was always that kind of like sharing of information.
I'm reminded of that.
A lot of that I owe to Glasper.
I'm reminded of that Sting or the Police. I believe it was the album Murder by Numbers, and that one song. Chad, help me, remind me that one song that we try to do. We hadn't heard the song. I mean, I may have heard the song as a child, but I hadn't heard it in years. And there's this specific way they started the drum groove.
Wait, isn't it Murder by Numbers?
It's Murder by Numbers. The song is Murder by Numbers. Yeah. Oh yeah, the album is called Synchronicity.
Oh, Synchronicity. Yeah. I was thinking like, what record is that?
Yeah, amazing album. I mean, that tune in specifically has a cool groove. The way it starts, it feels like it's offbeat, but then the bass comes in, you're like, dang, that's fat. And so it was just moments like that, and I realized, like, even for a character like Sting, by the way, Sting is a great writer and guitarist.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you've ever seen him do a solo gig, legit.
Yeah, I mean,
and that sentiment of writing, he drew from a lot of jazz influence. I can just tell, and I know he was surrounded by musicians that helped him do that. So.
I mean, and he's always had jazz musicians in his band. Like, I have a real quick funny story about Sting. So one day, I'm like, this is when I lived in Harlem. I got a call in the morning, and it was from this arranger, Bill. I feel like it's Bill Kirshner. I might be wrong. I'm so long ago, but I get this phone call. And he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing today? Do you have time to record something for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess. What is it?" He's like, "Don't tell anybody, but like Sting is making a Christmas album, and we're stuck on this one tune, and I'm gonna send it to you. Can you do a quick arrangement of it and send it back to me like in a couple of hours?" And so I'm like, holy shit, I just get dressed, go to my room. And at that time, it's not like I didn't have anything. I didn't own any microphones, any studio gear, nothing. And so I just had my mini disc player and just played acoustic guitar into an amp with some reverb and stuff, sort of like Sting would do. And I arranged this tune, sent it. I don't even remember what song it was. It was a Christmas song that I've never heard of, ever. Sent it back to them, never heard back anything. Other than, yeah, I got it. That was it. And then days go by. That night I had a gig, like that same night. So I go to the gig, and on the gig is the singer Jo Laurie. Do you guys know who she is?
Not sure.
So Jo Laurie is on the gig. It's this gig in the Bronx at this little, like, pizza restaurant or something. Like, random gig that she had. She called me for. It was also the first time I was meeting her. And it was her and her ex. They were together, and they used to do gigs together. So I show up, and she was like, "Oh, hey, it's nice to meet you. Like, how was your day? Are you having a good day?" I was like, "Yeah, I just did this crazy thing. Like, I recorded this arrangement of this song and sent it to Sting." And she was like, "What?" Like, she was like, "I would fucking kill to work with Sting." The next day, she was in the studio with Sting. And she stayed in the band for 10 years. She was Sting's backup singer for 10 years. The next day, they called her for the same session. And so the next time I saw her, she was like, "Guess who called me the next day?" I was like, that same producer. And he had her go to the studio. She did some background vocals, and Sting liked her so much that she was in the band. She bought a house, like, changed her life,
Whoa.
Like, she owns a building, the whole brownstone, like, right up the street from me.
What's the
that she
story
doesn't
with
live
that? How did that go down for her? Do you know?
She just showed up for that session just to do background vocals, and somehow Sting, he was there, he heard it, and he loved the way she sang. Then he asked her to go on tour, or finish the record, do all the background vocals, and then go on tour. And she's on everything he's done since, up until about maybe right before the pandemic was over. It was that band. Finally, he changed the band, but she was in it. I would say that was probably like 2005. So she was in the band for over 10 years. And she's even in the documentary 20 Feet from Stardom. Have you seen that documentary? It's all about background singers.
I heard of it, but not seen it.
Yeah, it's a great documentary. So it's just like talking to all the girls and guys that are background singers for like Bruce Springsteen and Sting and like all these major acts. And so she's the first one you see. The documentary opens with her in the studio with Sting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're
crazy.
meet Sting tomorrow. Maybe you're like a Sting good luck charm.
In New York, you have no idea. Like the same thing.
Right.
That how I got the gig with Joshua Redman. Same thing. I was just at home. I got a phone call from Samuel Hell, organ player that used to play at Smalls. I didn't really know him personally. I just had a couple of conversations with him, but I knew that he had heard something I had done and he liked it. A friend of mine told me. So just out of the blue, I get a call from him one day. He was like, "Hey man, what are you doing tomorrow morning? Are you free?" I said, "Yeah." He was like, 10 a.m. meet me at this studio, rehearsal studio. He was like, I was like, "Oh, cool. Like, who? What's going on?" He was like, "It's me, Joshua Redman, and Brian Blade." And I was like, "Holy shit, that's the Elastic Band," He was like, "Don't tell anybody we called you. We were just like, you don't have the gig." He was like, "Don't get too excited. We're just kind of like going to play some music and, it's going to be fun." So I show up, and that night I called a friend of mine that had like every Smalls gig that trio had played, and, some concert venues too. But they would play at Smalls, just rehearsing music all the time on like Tuesdays if they were all in town. And so I got the bootlegs, learned all the music, showed up the next day for that morning session, that rehearsal. And Josh was putting like a Jazz Crimes in front of me, one of these tunes that's like super complicated melody, all these rhythms. But I had already memorized it, so I acted like I was sight reading it. And he was like, "Damn, man, you're reading the shit out of this." And I was like, "Yeah, But that's how I got the gig.
That's a good way to be.
You took me down memory lane because I was just thinking of so many stories like that. Audition stories. Basically, people had memorized music that they were supposed to read, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. I mean, you still sounded great, I'm sure.
I think more importantly to that, probably what a lot of people should take away from that is just the act of being prepared.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I could have. I mean, it's funny. Like today, my reading is much better than it was back then. That was like 2001. Actually, that was that rehearsal. That day I met with him was September 10th, 2001. So
wow.
The day before September 11th.
Wow.
And so, like, Josh actually called me the next day, like on September 11th. He was like, "Dude," he was like, "Let's." Because he had called me on September 10th and was like, "Man, I want to play with you." Like the next day, he was like, "Man, let's put everything's on hold." He was like, "It's gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen." Yeah, it was a kind of scary moment.
Wow.
But then I was like, of course, I was like, why? I finally get this opportunity, and it was like, boom, literally.
Yeah, literally.
So I actually didn't play with Josh for another 4 years. Like. It took 4 years before he called me back, and it was like, "Man, now this is the time." Like, I want you to join me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's divine timing or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
What are some of your other, if there's one story that sticks out to you or one musical experience that sticks out to you from any time that's made an impact on you, what would that be?
It's hard to say, like one. I mean, I can tell you the first experience.
Whatever comes to mind first.
Like maybe the most inspiring one was when I saw the spring concert, like HSPVA, like 1994, the spring concert, and Milt Hinton was the guest artist with the school, and I hadn't gotten into HSPVA yet. I had auditioned, and then, at the audition, Doc Morgan was like, hey, we're having a spring concert. Here's the date. You should, see if your mom can bring you. Because I was like 14, 15 years old at the time. And so I told my mom. She took me to the concert, went to the concert with my mom, sat there and watched Stefan Schultz. Do you guys know Stefan? Guitar player that was from Houston that went to PVA. But he's the guy that showed me like so much, like probably the biggest teacher for me at that time, even more than Todd Vullo. So, but Stefan was playing guitar. Dave Caceres was a teacher there, but he was playing with the students because he was only like 24 or 25 years old at the time. And so Dave Caceres was playing, Tim Reese was playing bass, and Eric Harland was on drums. So, and I had never heard kids that young sound that good. So that was definitely like like holy shit. Like I'm definitely not getting into the school if that's the way those kids sound. And then I got in, and then after that, I was just like, I have to learn how to play. Like there's no option. I can't be in school with these guys and sound like that. But Eric Harland graduated that year, so did Tim. So I never got to go to school with Tim or Eric Harland. But I did get a year with Stefan. That was like crazy. Like just to have a year of seeing him every day and talking about music. Yeah.
Is Stefan still alive?
No, he died in 2004.
Okay.
Like super young, like 27.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I mean he was kind of out there, man. And I think he was just he was kind of losing it, and I don't know. He didn't commit suicide or anything, but overdose.
Wow, in the music circles that you run in, do you feel like people are of that vibe? Like, do you see, trying to think of how to phrase it without it sounding crazy, but in your experience at this point, do you feel like people keep it together or people are actually crazy under the surface?
I haven't seen crazy in a long time.
That's good.
It used to be pretty common. Like Smalls used to just be crazy, man. Like you would go down there. I've never been in a fight anywhere in New York except for Smalls and the Zinc Bar. Like that was just the old New York clubs. Like Zinc Bar, you could go and anything could happen in the Zinc Bar. And the same thing at the old Smalls before, when it was just a BYOB place and there was like a bunch of 17, 18-year-olds all getting smashed in the corner listening to like Kurt Rosenwinkel. They didn't even know who he was. They were just there because it was BYOB. And then you had all the crazy musicians that lived at Smalls. It was sort of like a hostel for homeless musicians. So there was like the crazy kind of mentally not ill, but like they were it was pretty out, man. It was pretty out back then.
That's interesting. What's the reason for that, you think? It's the decline of hot-headedness or whatever.
I mean, a lot of those people died out.
Okay.
Like literally are not here anymore. A lot of them, some of them sort of got it together. Some of them just disappeared. I have no idea what happened to them. And but yeah, it used to be like there was fights at Smalls all the time. It was that old school thing of like even at Fat Cat, like musicians would fight. It was like, oh, you laid out on my chorus, you didn't comp for my solo. Like there's people who start hitting each, just like body slam. But yeah, it was like the old days, man. Some of it I miss. Like it's not as fun anymore. You would hear these crazy stories of like what happened. Like so and so got drunk and they kicked him out of the club and he came back and he broke the front window. That just doesn't happen anymore. Like,
we see there's some funny Smalls videos on Instagram. You'll see some wacky stuff. Not really fights, but it's just like people being totally clueless, I guess.
Well, Smalls now it's a machine. It's like it is, I can say it's militarily run now, like how proficient it is. Like they get you on stage and you start on time. There is no starting 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late. That doesn't happen at Smalls anymore. So they make sure that you're on stage and it doesn't matter whether you're ready to go. They just start announcing like, hey, everybody, like, welcome to the stage. Like, it's like, man, I haven't even, my amp is not turning on. I don't know why it's not, and then it's like, give me a minute. So, things like that. Like there's like boom, you got to start on time. And as soon as the set is done, the second set, you get off stage, the next band gets on, within 10 minutes they're playing. So in the audience, they turn the audience every set. So it's they're making a ton of money, man. Like they're doing really well. But it's just not, the opportunity for stuff to happen like that is not there, because it's not like once you're in the club, you just stay all night like it used to be. It's like, no, you paid your $30 to get in, or $40 now, I think it is. And as soon as that set is over, you get out. They kick you out in the next audience. So there's no opportunity to get drunk at Smalls anymore, because you're only there for an hour.
Well, this might be my opinion, but I think that in order for this music to survive and thrive, there needs to be some business mindset, a little bit, some structure going on. Because if you let most of us jazz people, we don't care about that. We want to play. Let's face it.
Well, that's why the first Smalls went out of business. So Spike it's much more business minded. So he kind of bought Smalls as it was done. It was done. Like Mitch had moved on. Like he wasn't going to reopen Smalls. But the next person that opened, I don't know if you know the history of Smalls, but like the next person who, when Smalls closed, this guy, a Brazilian guy, opened up a bar there called Ipanema Bar. And it was so many people, and so it had a different sign, Ipanema Bar. And he said, like, all night, every night, people would come down and would say, "Where's the music?" And he was like, "Oh, we don't have music. This is just a bar." And they would walk out, and it would be empty every night for like a couple of months. And then he called Mitch, the previous owner of Smalls, and he said, "Man, can you just come and book the guys that were playing here? It's my bar, but you manage it. I'll change the name outside the door, and just let's just pretend like this never happened." So then, and all of a sudden, Smalls was back. It was just like normal. And then Mitch came in with another partner, and they bought it. And then, Spike came in and bought it from that Brazilian guy. And then, he had a partner, but then he bought him out. So now it's just Spike, and now it's like a machine, man. But that's it's true. It's like if it wasn't for that, because Mitch, the original owner, he doesn't have that mindset of he just creates the community, and he did it again recently with ornithology here. Like I can walk there in 20 minutes, like it's right up the street. And ornithology was the same thing. He started from scratch in a new neighborhood in Brooklyn, opened up a club, and now it's like Smalls 2. It's like original vibe of the real of the old Smalls, but it's a little bit more business minded. He's making money. He's not hurting.
Let's go through 5 of the most authentic jazz club experiences you can have in New York, in your opinion. 5 spots. Can you name them?
I mean, I don't think it really exists like that anymore. But Smalls still in Mesero. So Smalls and Mesero, Spike's clubs. Ornithology is Mitch, the old Smalls owner. So that's here. I think Bar Lunatico is not really a jazz club. So Bar Lunatico, where like I played that gig with Nicholas Payton I was telling you about, it's basically a bar, a great bar, like really nice cocktails, really nice, like decent wines, good food, no cover charge. So that's the whole thing with that place. It's like it's a neighborhood spot, but everybody plays there. Bill Frisell will play there. Nora Jones will play there, but it's not advertised. It just one day you walk in, it's that band, you know.
That's cool.
So then it's a great venue. So it has the soul of a jazz club, but it's not a straight up jazz club. Smoke is cool. Like I like the community at Smoke. I like the staff. You know, it's all people that love the music, but that is definitely a club that makes money. Like, and deservedly, they deserve it because the food is spectacular at Smoke, and that is, I never say that about any venue that has music. But like Smoke, I would go there to have dinner by choice, that kind of thing, you know. But not like Dizzy's. Dizzy's I wouldn't go to have dinner. So Dizzy's is like Jazz at Lincoln Center, the club there. It's a super nice club. I love playing there, but it doesn't have that heart that you get when you're in a small room. But yeah, man, 55 Bar was really sort of one of those old clubs that unfortunately disappeared. A lot of them did. Sweet Basil was another one that disappeared. So, and the Jazz Standard, man, that was the biggest loss, I think, for the jazz world in New York, was when the Standard closed during the pandemic. That was rough.
I think about like 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago, I was in New York, and I actually saw you perform. I think somebody just told me it was happening somewhere in Manhattan. It was you, Bernice on bass, and I want to say Marcus Gilmore. It was just trio.
Oh, so that was Bar Lunatico, the place that I'm mentioning that's here.
So pardon me if that's the wrong location. My New York geography is pretty horrible.
That's in Brooklyn. So if you saw us, if it wasn't at Smalls, because I also played with that band at Smalls, I think. But if Marcus Gilmore was on the drums and it was Bernice, that was definitely Lunatico.
And it's kind of like a long shotgun bar.
Yeah, that's it. That's Bar Lunatico. So that's my neighborhood where I'm at right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was wow. That's crazy. Yeah, because I would have not remembered the name. I couldn't even tell you at all.
Yeah, Lunatico.
But yeah, that was really cool to see.
I just realized the main club that fits the description you were asking about is the Village Vanguard. That club is just so obvious, and sometimes I forget to mention it. But to me, the most New York like iconic jazz club. I mean, the Village Vanguard for sure.
For sure. Yeah. You know, I don't want to go here, but I'm gonna go here and get it out of the way. So, Patrick Bartley had a video. He has a couple of videos on this now, and I check him out every once in a while because I value his opinion in terms of the trajectory of jazz and the young scene, right? And he's pointing out that, well, at least for him personally, he believes that AI jazz is pretty damn good. And he's
I don't know who this is also. Patrick Bartley?
Patrick Bartley, yeah. One of the things he does a lot, recently you see him tour with Emmett Cohen.
Okay.
And saxophone, plays alto too. Killer, incredible. Plays with Wynn Marsalis too.
Okay.
And that orchestra, yeah. So essentially he plays with the, I don't even want to say the platform of the AI platform, but full disclosure, I use it too, so it's not like I'm an angel over here, but it's pretty damn convincing the way the AI generates this jazz, even down to the like minute inflections in the instrument, the embouchure, everything, and it's a little creepy. And in Patrick's opinion, we have at least something to be concerned about. If not, we need to adopt and adapt quickly to this because it's going to be an inevitability. What is your opinion on this development?
I mean, it doesn't really matter what my opinion is because it's going to happen either way. But I mean, I think it's not going to put like great musicians out of work. It's going to put average musicians out of work, which really sucks. But I feel like a lot less people are going to have that just sort of maybe doing like film score stuff or commercials, any kind of recording like that, like for jingles. Like I feel like that's where AI is going to. It's one is they've already made the laws to where like nobody can make money off of AI music in a commercial setting, like your release, like on Spotify or something. So that's already been protected against. So then an incentive, if there's no money to be made, then they're just doing it for kicks, which maybe some people will do that, like make a AI jazz record, but they can't make money off of it. They can't make royalties off of it if there's no real people playing. But then there's going to have to be somebody that polices all of that also, all of that AI music to figure out what's real and what's not. But yeah, I just don't feel it's going to affect the majority of like real artists. It's gonna fill in the void of a lot of other stuff. I feel like a lot of it's already bad now with like Netflix. Like if you do a Netflix score, if they're doing a series and they hire you to do the score, you're not making royalties ever off that series. That has already been they already figured that out, how to cut musicians out of that. So your only option is to take a buyout, unless you have a name like a big name that you already made your name before Netflix was a huge deal. But then they're probably just not going to choose you if that's the thing. Then there's other things like Netflix does where they hire a producer to get musicians like us in a room, and we write the music, but we don't get any of the writing credit, and we're just work for hire, even though we're technically coming up with everything. So that also happens. So somebody is getting paid, the producer, but not the musicians. They're getting paid for the session, but you're not going to make like royalties off of it. So yeah, that all that kind of stuff is disappearing already. Yeah. AI is just going to take place of that. So maybe you don't even get the session to do the work for hire for like a series and stuff like that. That's probably going to happen. But I don't, it sucks if that's how you make the majority of your money. But if you make the majority of your money playing live concerts, then that's not going anywhere. People still want to get dressed up and buy tickets to stuff and go see a show. So hopefully it's not going to be like holograms and at the camera, in 20 years you go to the camera Cullen Theater, it's just holograms of like Miles Davis Quintet.
Do you remember the Tupac hologram concert they had going?
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
So that's the one thing, but I still believe that would be in a different category than live entertainment. I don't know, because the consumers are going to decide. But it's not even just the consumers. It's how powerful the package, how convincing the package is, and how they kind of, because there's an element of people will listen to what you tell them to listen to and what you push a lot, and then they become familiar, and that becomes the new zeitgeist, as it were.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're still going to capture the same audience that is captured now with pop music, like really bad pop music. It basically is already AI.
Exactly.
Nobody's really playing on that stuff anyway. It's like a vocalist with tons of like preamps and auto-tune and everything. So it already is pretty much AI. So, and most people will just listen to that on the radio, whatever the radio tells them to listen to. So, but it's always going to be on the fringe of like that. Like the vast majority of the world is going to listen to pop music no matter what, because they're told to. But then there's always the people that rebel, and you only really need 1% of the audience to show up of the world, to show up and check out what you do. So it'll still sell out jazz clubs. It's not that many people, It's funny, like when we went to China last year with this band, and some of us were like, man, like, we're going to the city, like we don't even know how to pronounce the name of it right, and how are people going to show up? Like how they, like the promoter booked this gig, it's up to him to get people into the seats at this club or venue. It's like, how do they even know who we are really? And then you start to think about it, you're like, well, there's 35 million people that live in this city that we've never heard of. All we need is 100 of them to show up. It's like, I mean, it's still going to be packed. So there's a lot of people out there. So I think there's always going to be some people. There's going to always be at least 100 people to show up at your gig if you're on tour with a decent band.
Thank God.
As long as you sell out that venue, you feel like you're doing okay.
How was that performance in China, and how was your experience in China? And what city was it?
I can't remember this one particular place. But also there was the one for sure that I was thinking about was Chongqing. So Chongqing is like a very hip little city. But my first time I ever went to Chongqing, I'd never heard of it. And it was like flying there. And I remember it was super turbulent, like the flight from wherever we were going, Xi'an to like Chongqing. And I was just like, man, this is it. I mean, the plane was literally just like bouncing. And I was like, I'm going to die going to this city I've never heard of, for like probably like 10 people to show up. And then we get there And then we're driving in. I was like, man, this city is like, it's like Tokyo. It's unbelievable. And the promoter was like, yeah, there's like 35 million people that live here.
Wow.
It's insane. 35 million people. And of course, we show up to the club, super packed, all young, good looking, like college kids coming to check out a jazz show. And they were super into it, buying records. They're like super happy to meet you. And some of them knew who we were already, and some of them were just like out because they heard there was an American band in town, and it's still super new for American bands to go to a place like that. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely an audience there that wants to hear jazz, like creative music, and they want to hear it live. And you're talking about China, where everybody's like, it's a miracle if you can get them to not look at their phone in a conversation with you. You know, they're all addicted to their phones, but they still. The fringe of it, like I said, you only need 150 people to show up or 200. There's still going to be that 200 people in 35 million people that are like, fuck our phones. We want to go hear some live music, you know? So, yeah.
I'm just curious, cool. Are there any technical issues getting to China, or any kind of technical issues getting to China to do that concert?
Yeah, the visa process is pretty rough. If you're the band leader, if you're the sideman, great. Just get on the plane. You don't have to worry about anything. But if you're the band leader, you have to submit a set list with, if there are lyrics, you have to write out the lyrics, submit that. You have to send video of the songs you're going to be performing, which is insane because sometimes I'm like, I haven't even written a couple of the songs that I want to try to do. I haven't finished them. There's no recordings or video. You know, you just send them a video of something else, you know.
Right.
They're not. It just has to be there. Like it's the bureaucracy of playing in China. And then every time you go to the consulate to submit the paperwork, there's a problem. So then you have to go home or go to another place, FedEx, and fix the problem, recopy everything, take it back, and they're like, "Oh, you still did this wrong." You know, it takes forever, man. There's like really stupid things that they do, like when you submit the paperwork. Like it has to be printed two-sided, so they don't want 2 pages. They want 1 page, and you flip it over. That's the second page. Okay. So things like that. You take it. Every page is a separate page, and they're like, no, it's supposed to be double-sided. Go back home and come back tomorrow. And you're just like, oh, I stood in line for an hour. You know, so yeah, all of that stuff I know now, but the first visa process to go to China is a nightmare.
That's interesting. I remember I was going to try and get a visa to go just visit China while I was in Korea, and I was like, oh man, I don't even have time to do this because it's going to take so long. And that's so much simpler than what you would have had to do, but
it's easier as a tourist, but you still have to get a visa. But oh my God, I remember this because my ex, who was Chinese, but she was raised in Australia, and the day before her flight to China, she just like comes out of the bedroom, and I'm on the couch like on my computer, and she's like, oh my God, I'm like, what? She was like, I forgot to get my visa. Like, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, you're screwed. You're not gonna make the wedding. Like, she was going to China to see her sister's wedding, and I was like, yeah, you fucked up. It's like takes 3 days to get a visa. So she made it. I think she arrived the night before the wedding because she missed all the like the dinner and all that kind of stuff, all the preparations. She was supposed to help with all that and the dress picking and like fittings and all that. But she made the actual wedding, but she was super stressed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Mike, because we're going on probably for a little, how long have we been going? A while.
A while.
I still want to talk about Erykah Badu. We just saw Erykah Badu and all that.
Oh, Erykah
Tell
Badu.
them about it.
Yeah.
I don't know her though.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't know Erykah Badu? Like,
I mean, I've never played with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. Well, we saw her the other night at 713, which is at that place called The Post.
Yeah.
In Houston.
Yeah.
But
I saw the thing she just did on at the New York Times. That was super cool.
I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was shocked that he was playing that electric drum kit. I didn't. It was like
the cymbals were definitely electric cymbals and stuff.
It was like the children's electronic drum kit that I have in my side room.
I mean, but that's the vibe anyway. Yeah. Like, I mean, when I used to record with Q-Tip, like that drum set that was in his house was all electric drums, but he had like killing drummers coming in there playing that thing, like, and it sounded ridiculous when you listen to the track. It's like, yeah, you don't need a real
it can
drum
be
set, not for
really
hip-hop.
cool.
Yeah.
Especially the extra. Oh my god, the extra modern ones. Holy shit, they are crazy.
Yeah, and then that was 20 years ago. So then the technology must be it's insane now.
I was gonna ask you earlier. You kind of said a few things that made me want to ask this. I feel like you might have in the chamber some scathing or biting hot takes or a hot take of some sort. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you don't, but you know what I mean when I say hot take, right?
On
Kind of like
an opinion?
An opinion. I'm keeping it really open.
On what?
Well,
on
I was
anything?
thinking about it when we were talking about the jazz clubs, but that's a little trite at this point. Maybe something that sticks out to you in the music world, in your line of work, in your line of experiences, maybe culturally as well, that comes to mind where you might have a hot take on it.
I don't know if I have my most controversial take on the jazz world is that it's a built-in audience. So I kind of feel like a lot of people, they get away with maybe a little bit too much. Like, so sometimes I like the younger generation of musicians, including myself when I was young, like the way we would play was for ourselves, but without realizing like everyone we love from the past played for the audience. And they of course they play for themselves a little bit, but they kind of built everything, right? There were no jazz festivals back then. They created the whole scene, the jazz festivals, the jazz clubs, the jazz record labels, the whole scene that we're now living off of. We have this opportunity, like if you have a band, there's already a network, like there's already festivals you can play, there's already venues and it's already the culture, like we were saying. If you build it, they will come, like Doc Jazz, right? How they're getting away with charging $50 to see musicians that were playing last week for free. But all you need is that 1% to show up and pay the cover charge, right? So then, but is the band taking it seriously? Like, because there's always going to be people that want to go hear jazz, but do they want to hear what? And so then they're just kind of forced to listen to whatever you present them. And some people take advantage of that. Like I've worked with band leaders where I'm like, you're in a position, you've been given the position that you're in because of you check these boxes. The Jazz Festival needs somebody that checks all these boxes, and you check all of them. Like it is the politically whatever motivating factor of why this band is playing this festival. And when you don't give the audience what they want or what they were expecting, and you're just like, no, I want to play all my music and we're going to do it exactly this way. I feel like in some ways you're kind of cheating the system. Like you're not being, I guess, respectful of all those before you that created that opportunity for you to just walk in and be like, oh, fuck them. We're just going to play all the stuff I want to play, and I don't care if they get what we're doing or not.
Right.
Like I disagree with that. Like I don't think it's ballsy or badass to do that and just like alienate the audience to the point where they don't understand what you're doing. Yeah. And half of them are leaving because, whatever. Maybe they had season tickets to that venue. Like, let's just say it's DeCamera, although every time I've played at DeCamera, it's been great. So I'm not talking about them, but it could be something as big as DeCamera where people are season ticket holders and half the audience leaves because they just wanted to hear some jazz or whatever they think that is.
Right.
And maybe they were open to hearing something new, but it still has to be good and engaging. So, I don't know. So that's my only
that. Yeah,
thing.
That was very eloquently put.
Yeah.
But also I get frustrated because I feel like a lot of times the audience at jazz venues, they don't know who you are. Like they're just there because they're like, oh, cool, let's go see some jazz tonight. I like jazz. That's my...
Right.
I recently wrote that on a Tyshawn story. There was like, Tyshawn story. He does all the Rothko Chapel stuff in Houston now. So then Tyshawn posted something the other night where he's just playing the most ridiculous music. It's like amazing, like, but so fast, so loud, and so powerful. And I wrote on his Instagram, "I love jazz. It's so relaxing," because that's just like a quote, and I put it in quotes because that's whenever I meet a stranger and they say, "Oh, you're a musician. You play guitar. Okay, what kind of music?" And I'm like, I hate that question, first of all, because I don't have enough time to tell them the whole story that we just talked about, right? So then they're like, "Oh," so I was like, "Well, I play jazz," and they're like, "Oh, I love jazz. Yeah, it's so nice and relaxing," and it's like it's the same shit everybody says. So I'm like, so now I just like to mess with people when they say that. They're like, "Oh, I love jazz." I'm like, "Really? Who do you like?" "Oh, I don't know. It's just stuff I hear. It's just so nice and relaxed. So, I feel so. It just makes me want to like drink wine and go to bed." I'm like, okay, that's not the music.
Check out freaking Coltrane Newport Jazz Festival live, 1963.
Yeah, go see that or go see Tyshawn Shorey, and they're gonna scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
So it's like that thing of like sometimes you're playing and you see that from the audience that they just wanted, we just want to sip wine and listen to some jazz. It's so romantic. And that one of my, also, I'll just tell the story. The epitome of that was the drummer that plays with Kenny Garrett. He also played with Suicidal Tendencies. Ronald Bruner. Do you guys know Ronald in L.A.?
Yeah.
So I saw Ronald playing with Kenny Garrett at Dizzy's, which is Lincoln Center, where the whole front row was these wealthy Lincoln Center, patrons. And there was this couple that was sitting right next to the drums off to the stage. The drums are here on the riser and the table's down here. This is a couple and they were like hugging. And Ronald Bruder walks out with a Black Power shirt. And, he's all buff and he's like walking to the drums and he sees them like just sitting there, like kind of hugging. And it's like little cute white couple. And he was like, "Oh, shit." He was like, "You right next to the drums?" He was like, "I'm just telling you now, I play loud as shit." And he got on the drums. It was like, played the intro to the tune. And it was the loudest thing they probably ever heard. And it was definitely not, they were not hugging for too much longer after that.
They're cowering in fear.
He played even louder than he normally plays just to scare that couple. It's like, but yeah, Ronald is like unforgiving, man. It's like, but it's powerful. He's an amazing drummer. There's some cool Alan Holdsworth videos with him on it too.
Oof. All right, man. All right, that's a whole other story. Alan's story is a little depressing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I know some really depressing stories about him. If you should ask Kurt. Kurt's the one to tell that story. I won't tell it for Kurt, but next time you interview Kurt or have him on, just ask him about Crossroads, Madison Square Garden, playing with Alan Holdsworth.
I saw that concert. Okay, well, give me a sneak.
Ask him about all that happened in the background, like backstage.
Okay. I will.
I feel like I don't want to tell it because if I get anything wrong, I love Kurt and he's really sensitive. Like I don't want to tell the story wrong. But
I got you. I've heard some things about that show. Well,
so it's such a good story that even if there's just, it's insane. Yeah.
Do you have any projects coming up you want to make people aware about that as we sign off here, Mike?
The next thing I'm doing like this weekend is a great record that I haven't heard any of the music. I have no idea what we're going to do. It's Myron Walden's band. So it's basically the Brian Blade Fellowship. So it's Myron Walden, John Coward on piano, Larry Grenadier on bass, and Brian Blade on drums. Monty Croft is playing vibes. So it's basically Brian's band, the Fellowship, but with Larry Grenadier and Rogério Bocata, the percussion player, Brazilian guy. So that's going to be, whatever it's going to be cool. So,
wow.
Yeah. And we did a couple of records already, that band. They're just under Myron's name, so they kind of fall under the radar a little bit.
Okay, perfect. We're going to tell people, maybe we can link something there. Do you think there's something we can link with that?
Yeah, well, probably whatever Myron's, is his name on Instagram is like Root Snappy. I think that's what it is.
Perfect.
Noted.
Yeah, but Myron's thing, then, I have new music. So we just played at Bar Lunatico the other night doing all the new music. So hopefully there'll be like videos online soon of that stuff and a recording. I just need to work out the kinks with all the, I have to play it live for like a year before I can really record it.
That's understandable. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point, actually. Well, Mike, honestly, I have a ton of more questions for you, but I guess duty
No, it's all
calls
good,
at
man.
this
We can
point.
do it again another time, you know.
Yeah, because I want to get into some details. We didn't even go that hard. We're just getting our feet wet a little bit. Mike Moreno,
man.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. It was a pleasure to
For sure.
have you, and we hope to see you in Houston again at some point.
Hopefully be back. Probably like I'll probably just stop in like around February, somewhere around there. Get out of the cold in New York for a second. Visit my mom. But yeah, probably February, definitely April for her birthday and stuff. Yeah, that's usually when I get back there.
Sweet.
Even if I'm not playing, like, yeah.
Maybe we could have some kind of virtual or physical powwow with Kurt, Peter, Scott Henderson, get Osnoy in here and have some fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah, man. Oz is cool, dude.
He's very cool.
We did one of those live streams was with Oz also.
Oh, yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Oz is great. I did some stuff with Oz, man. He's so funny. Okay.
Yeah. Cool, man.
All right.
Awesome, Mike.
All right.
Well, thanks so much, everybody.
For sure.
Houston Ensemble Podcast. Subscribe. Check out Mike Moreno. We'll see you on the next one.
Later, Mike.
See ya.